All right, welcome in. A happy Thursday to you. It is a Prez-free zone today on this July the 30th. Can't believe it, but we're getting ready to say goodbye to July. Welcome in August. Football is upon us here. Training camps opening up. We got to get you ready for that. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFC North here today. A little bit later, of course, we've got sharp bets. We got a parlay of the day. We got predictive markets. We got a Major League Baseball rundown. And you guys are in for a treat. Because Art the Caesar is here. That's right. Oh, Brian Power's here, too, as well. Good to see you, Brian Power. As always, man, wasn't quite sure your mic was on. But it's good to see both of you gentlemen, in fact, here. Yes, BP, thank you so much for alerting us to your availability and gracing us here on the show today. Outstanding stuff. Art, as always.
I'm doing you a favor.
Oh, yes, here we go. I knew that was coming at some particular point. In all honesty here, gentlemen, it is a press-free zone, which is always a good time. But let's start first and foremost with what we witnessed last night and how the books did, Art. So what were you seeing last night? I guess the Dodgers won, so that's always, I guess, not good for the books, right?
Dodgers won, but, Yankees blew their lead. Phillies blew their lead. Cubs blew their lead late. A lot of blown leads. Tigers, they were a big favorite with Skubal. That was a wacky game. So you got a lot of games like that ended up turning at some point, which is always going to be good when major teams like that, especially big favorites, lose outright. That's always going to be parlay killers and always good for the house.
Yeah, that was, I know you were celebrating there, BP. Was that a mini celebration with the Yankees blowing that lead there? Is that what that was?
And the Cubs as well. We had both the White Sox and the Cardinals. Anytime you got a 4-game series, the home team loses the first 2, I get a little interested no matter who the team is. And yeah, we got a little lucky in both instances. But hey, we come on here a lot of times and say, man, you won't believe the bad break I got last night. Well, you got to celebrate when the breaks go your way. And I'll take 2 wins there in the evening. It was a nice bounce back because I had the under in that Tigers-Orioles game that Art mentioned. That sucked, quite frankly. Tiger, what if that is it for Skubal in the Motor City? What a fitting ending with the bullpen just coming in and just completely pouring gas all over the field and blowing that 7-0 lead in spectacular fashion.
Really spectacular fashion, in fact, there. But that was our long shot yesterday, Art. I believe the Orioles getting it done, or I got to be honest, I did not watch that game after the 5th inning because I was thoroughly disgusted with Rodgers and the entire Orioles team. But certainly in epic Detroit fashion, they figured out a way to continue to lose games and really, to your point, BP, play themselves right into trading Skubal. So, well done, Detroit. And not just Skubal. I think Casey Mize will be wearing a different uniform. I think if you sell Skubal, if you trade him, you better just start over and hit the refresh button there. So, we did have some WNBA last night, did we not, Art, as well? We got some WNBA here today. What are the Sharps playing in that direction? Do we know?
Yeah, they laid 4 with the Sky overnight. It's now 5. Also took the over 174. Now looking at like 176 and a half on that total. So the 2 WNBA sharp plays are in the same game. Once you go to baseball, they're on 2 sides. And it's a smaller, slate today on a Thursday, but they're on the Padres and they're on the Pirates.
Padres and the Pirates here. And all of a sudden, what do the Padres do, BP? I'm having a hard time figuring out who the buyers are and who the sellers are outside of the Angels, who have already made a trade, I believe, right? Hop's already on his way out to somebody else here, so kudos to him for getting the hell out of Anaheim. But I don't know what you do if you're the Padres here because they have 0 starting pitching.
I don't think they're a good team. I don't think they should be a buyer, but it's hard. I mean, right? I mean, it's always difficult to sell your fan base waving the white flag. Zeno and I talked about this earlier in the week, that with some of these teams, rather than just guess, maybe, just don't bet as much. Decrease your volume this week. See and find out for yourself. Look, the teams will tell you if they're a buyer or seller at the deadline, right, Joe? We're not going to have to guess at this time next week. So it will be interesting indeed which directions these teams choose to go next week. So stay tuned, I guess. My opinion is the Padres are not one of the 6 best teams in the National League. And I don't know. If they go for broke this year, we'll see. We'll see, but I don't think
the bullpen is good, but how many bullpen games can you go with, Art, before at some point? I mean, Michael King is not carrying, Walker Buehler is not carrying you to the finish line here. So that's a problem there. All right, couple of sharp bets across the board. Like you said, I think we got 3 or 4 day games here today, 5 or 6 games on the usual slate later on. We do have a parlay of the day. Art, damned if I can remember what the hell we chose yesterday, but I'm sure the press was wrong. Today is a new day, so go ahead and kick us off here on the parlay of the day.
Sure. I'm going to go under in the Giants-Padres game, under 8.5.
Under 8.5. I think, didn't I, now that I'm thinking about it here, I think I went with the under in the White Sox-Yankees game. Would look great. Right up until, okay, BP. Well, a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. How about you, BP?
Don't worry, Joe. I had the Cubs, so I got screwed.
Okay, well, there you go. So I'm feeling worse by the second. Yep. Go ahead, BP. Grace us with your second leg of this 3-team parlay today.
Yeah, let's talk about Washington and Atlanta. It's the national TV game on ESPN. I want to find a way to play the Nationals, Joe and Art. They lead all of baseball in runs per game, 5.5. They're a better team on the road, much better, 32-20 on the road compared to just 23-34 at home. They're facing a Braves bullpen that went through a doubleheader yesterday, a starter, Grant Holmes, that I think is due for regression. But Jake Irvin's a bit of a wild card, right? The Nats starter, it's his first time starting since May. He's coming off the 60-day IL. So what do I have for you guys? Nats team total over 4.5. Let's just take the pitcher out of the equation and bet on this league-leading offense.
All right. My leg is going to be, and there's a couple different ways that we can go in this spot here, but I tend to think runs are coming at the Great American Small Park here tonight. Here, Pittsburgh taking on Rhett Lauder, who I believe the 3 of us can score against. For the Reds, it's an opener situation for Pittsburgh, which is always laughable. But I do think Pittsburgh should be able to score enough runs with Cincinnati to get this thing into double digits, 9.5 currently in that one there. All right. Anything else, BP? What is that? You got your number one? What are you doing there? What?
No, I gave you a thumbs up. I agree with that.
Okay.
I watched Lauder pitch in the flesh when they were when we were out in Denver a couple of weeks ago. I was going to tell a winning
pretty sure
and this is what I get. I was going to support your play. The guy gives up 8 runs and 2 1/3. I bet up to 12.5 outs, and that's what I get from you. You got to be ribbing me, man.
I got to just hit the wrong button. I don't know how that happened, Art, but we will move on to the predictive markets here today as we have. Well, listen, baseball, the trade deadline's coming up on Monday. I still think there's a whole lot of teams trying to figure out whether or not they're going to be sellers, buyers, are they standing put? But it brings up an interesting question and an interesting market, and that is who makes the playoffs, guys, and who doesn't right now in these markets. So if we take a look at the playoff qualifiers list, as you can tell, the teams with the 90% mark, Yankees, the Brewers, the Dodgers, Atlanta, pretty much shoe-ins, Tampa. It starts to get interesting there, BP, with Boston. Yeah. Philadelphia, yes, they can't win right now, and there's a bit of a rift between Dombrowski and Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper wants help. Dombrowski's like, shut your pie hole and play. You don't know what you're doing. So that's never a good sign. But, Texas, Seattle, even the Guardians, the Whites, there are some interesting prices for teams that I think with a month and a half to go, BP brings some value to the table.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, those top 6, I think we can all agree they're going to be in the postseason. But as you scroll down, man, there's a lot I like here. I like the no on Cleveland.
Ooh.
I think they're not going to do anything at the deadline. They never do. It's a cheap organization. It was funny. I was watching the broadcast on Peacock where they put one local announcer from one team, the other team's local announcer together. Rick Manning representing the Guardians, after being told, Guardians fans have to be, begging for a bat to be added at the trade deadline. He goes, yeah, that would be nice. He knows that most Cleveland fans go. They're not going to add a bat at the deadline, probably. I like the yes on Pittsburgh. I like yes on the White Sox. And I think no is worth a shot on the Phillies, Joe.
Interesting.
This team has a negative year-to-date run differential. They don't win when it's not Luzardo, Wheeler, or Sanchez pitching. If they get to the playoffs, that's a hell of a three-man rotation, but they got to get there first. And their record is like 14-34 when it's not one of those three pitching.
Art, what are you thinking, man, as far as this list goes? Who's down? I still think Houston's very much alive in a terrible division, but I think they can hit their way into it. If Hunter Brown continues down the path where he becomes Hunter Brown again, I think Houston, and what kind of price are we talking about with them right now? 40 cents? So plus money for Houston to actually, what are they, 2 games out? They have the American League MVP on that team. They're finally healthy, and they'll score in that bullpen with Josh Hader and company, Okert and everybody. They have more than enough to win a miserable division in the AFC West here, the American League West there. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to make the playoffs, I would even look at them to win the division. Why not? I mean, Seattle and Texas have done nothing to, distinguish themselves as the team who would go win that division. BP mentioned a team, and you said it, a team who could slug their way there is Pittsburgh. And I feel like you probably get a really nice price on Pittsburgh. Every 5 days they can throw out people like Skeens and Ashcroft, and they can have some starters who can give you some quality innings and quality starts where you can have a chance. And that offense is second or third in the league in runs. So I think Pittsburgh at that price is probably the best long shot value to make the playoffs. I like Pittsburgh.
And as we're going down a little bit further here, Minnesota, ironically enough, is still very much alive.
Yeah.
Baltimore also. Detroit and Washington, I think, are interesting too. Listen, if I hear one more rumor that C.J. Abrams is being traded, I'm going to I don't know what people are talking about. They're not trading him at all here. But when you look at this bottom half, Baltimore, Detroit, Washington, Miami, even St. Louis, who's 2.5 in? Call me crazy here, Art. One of these teams could play their best baseball coming up. I love that Miami's already gone through, they went 20 wins in June, couldn't win a game, lost 12 in a row in July. Now they've put it together, take care of business against Philadelphia. Could Miami be back on track here to make a little bit of a run?
They absolutely could be, and you're clearly getting a great price on them because of that 12-game losing streak. When you get to that bottom there, a team like Minnesota, they've already come out and said they're not sellers, they're buyers. Right. They're not going to get rid of Joe Ryan. They're not going to trade Jeffers to my Yankees. So, you look at a team like Minnesota, maybe they're just sitting there lurking. Not a lot of people talk about the Twins. I mean, they've been playing some pretty good baseball under the radar. I mean, good baseball, they're 500. It is what it is. But in that American League, outside of who? The Royals, Angels, and A's, I mean, everyone's kind of in it. It's a toss-up in that American League.
It's crazy here. How far would you go down here, BP? You think Miami is the cutoff?
I'm so glad we just kept scrolling down. So unless if you think Washington, Miami, and St. Louis are going to completely fall in the tank over the next week, what do we always stress in this predictive market segment, guys? It's not that they're going to get the job done. It's that the price is just going to go up.
Correct.
Is this price going to get any lower on Washington, Miami, and St. Louis? These teams are 2.5 games out of the wild card only right now.
Correct.
And you mentioned Miami kind of bottomed out. They hit their nadir already, just swept the Phillies. St. Louis, I'm not a big believer in. I've been skeptical all season, but still, that's a pretty low price. And then the Nationals, I am a believer. If they're they're going to rue, I think, at the end of the season, their bullpen, because if their bullpen hadn't blown so many games in spectacular fashion, we're probably talking about the Nats in the postseason. They could still make it with that offense. I mentioned it earlier, league-leading offense at 5.5 runs per game. So 15, 12, and 14%, I think those numbers aren't going to go down.
I think, and it's interesting, I think you have to pick one or the other, but I think San Diego is only going to go in one direction because Machado and them are finally starting to hit. And I think, don't be shocked if Arizona makes a run at this thing and all of a sudden lands in the postseason and causes all sorts of aggravation. They're willing to make moves at the trade deadline. You know, they had a lot of unfortunate luck. They had some injury concerns. The bullpen seems to have turned it around. Corbin Carroll's hitting again. Arizona's a dangerous team to me, but you got to pick one or the other. Is it San Diego or is it Arizona? Who comes out of the West there, Art?
I'm with you. I think it would be Arizona.
Yeah. All right. BP, what do you, 40 cents right now? It's 43 cents.
I don't know, like those. I actually don't like either of those teams that much. I'd be surprised. I would be willing to bet against both of them and go with someone else, to be honest with you, Arizona. I like the upside of the Pittsburghs.
Well, it can't be just the Dodgers out of the West because everybody else is as mediocre as it comes in the other divisions.
Well, let's talk about it.
Milwaukee and the Cubs. Great.
Milwaukee and the Cubs and the Braves in the East. So that's 4. So we have 2 more wild cards. It could be a second place team in the East and maybe the Pirates or the Cardinals in the Central. You could have 3 teams from the Central or 3 teams from the East for that matter. I think the West could be the Dodgers, and that's it. I think there's a chance.
Oh. Are the Dodgers even on this list, guys? Do we think the Dodgers are making
I think they're in good shape.
I didn't see them. Did they even put it? They're not even listed on here, are they? Oh, there they are at the same
time. They are. Los Angeles
How
D.
is that not? Look at they have just yes. Look at that. Just yes. That's like they don't have a price associated with it. They're saying just yes. Unbelievable. But definitely, I think now's the time to start investing in some of those markets. Yeah. And BP brings up a great point. It's not about them actually making the postseason. Those are some prices that if you happen to have a future ticket on one of these teams here and you're looking to hedge out or cash out before it all said and done, a couple of those teams go on a little nice winning streak, and all of a sudden that's a 10 to 15, 20-cent move by the time we get to September 1st. So I think that market's got some opportunities in it for sure. And guys, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button here. Become part of the WagerTalk TV family. We're going to dive in to the NFC North as we continue to make our way around the NFL and the different divisions, getting you guys ready because let's face it, camps are open, which is always fun now this time of year. And Monday, we're going to start diving into some college football. So you're not going to want to miss that. BP will be here. Art, I won't let the prez in, so it'll be fine. So we'll be good to go there with the 3 of us. But now would be a good time here. Maybe we can get a little bit of business done before we start diving in. And BP, kick us off here, man. What do you got going over at your page at WagerTalk?
I joked when I was on the show Monday that, I hadn't been on in a couple weeks. I was coming off a rough week last week. Well, guess what? I got the best betting show ever, Juju, I guess, Joe, the Big Mo. 4-1 start to the week after going 2-1 yesterday. 96-66 all sports raw, number 1 in MLB totals for the season. I have a total available at my page right now, wt.buzz/BP, that you can get on board for $25. Don't forget, you can get on board 6 days for $69 if you want to sign up for a little bit longer.
Good stuff there. I got a total locked in, ready to go at my page, wagertalk.com, wt.buzz/JR. Same thing that BP said there. Take advantage of one of the all-access packages. That's the way to do it. In fact, if you get one of them, I believe you get an autographed copy of the thong the Prez is wearing in this picture right now. So that's always good stuff. You are definitely going to want that in the mail and explain it to your better half. All right, so we got business out of the way here, guys. Now it is time to talk little football. It's our favorite time here. The NFC North, right? I mean, does it get any better than this here, guys? The NFC North preview. We talked about the AFC North yesterday. And Art, I'm going to start with you here. Everyone, I don't know what to make of this division. I really don't, because I'm not a big Caleb Williams fan. The Bears made a nice push. I'm not a big believer in the Bears. I think Green Bay, Micah Parsons already physically unable to perform. He's not going to be available. I'm not exactly quite sure that they upgraded enough on the offensive side. And then there's Detroit, who there's a lot of people they got to replace: offensive line, defense, injury concerns, arrests. And then there's Minnesota, which we still don't know who the quarterback is going to be. So, Art, how do you break down this NFC North coming up this season?
Yeah, you look at the Lions, and obviously they're the favorites, but you still get a nice plus price on them because obviously the division is very competitive with Green Bay and Chicago right behind them. A lot of people try to talk themselves into the Bears. The Bears are very public. I know a couple of weeks ago we had talked about the Bears being one of those teams that everyone's betting to win the Super Bowl, Caleb to win MVP, taking their wins over. So the Bears have been a very popular team. You know, I'm with you, Joe. I don't believe it. I think for me, if I just look at this division, I look at Minnesota. You have a graphic up there. The quarterback's Kyler Murray, or it's JJ McCarthy. I'm instantly out on them. Their win total's 8.5. I would take that under. I'd even go alternate win total 7.5 and get a nice plus price on Minnesota winning 7 or less games.
It's so hard. I mean, hey, who is the quarterback going to be there? Brian Power in Minnesota. Do we even know? Does it matter who the quarterback is? They got the right coach. If you're going to resurrect anybody, he's the team. He's the guy you want to play for. Defense will be good again. We know that, but are you buying Minnesota here, no matter who the quarterback is?
Minnesota and Green Bay are tough teams to figure out. First of all, Joe, you throw that graphic up there with all the quarterbacks. I was instantly transported back to one of the more horrible nights of 2026 when I had Green Bay against Chicago in that fateful playoff game. I know a lot of other people did. I still am not over the Packers blowing that 3-score lead in the playoffs. You guys have both mentioned that you are not believers in the Bears. I think they check every single box for regression this year in terms of wins or losses. I was looking it up as you guys were talking. I absolutely love Bears at -110 to miss the playoffs this year. I don't think, I mentioned earlier in the week when I was on Joe, Monday, we were talking AFC South, Jacksonville being a prime candidate for regression when it comes to wins and losses. I think Chicago even more so. I think this team is going to miss the playoffs. I think Detroit bounces back this year and probably does win the division. I think that might be the best, if you were to ask. Plus, Art mentioned plus 170 is not a bad price on them. But I think my favorite bet in the NFC North is Bears -110 to miss the playoffs. I just think they're just regression all around. They won so many close games. How often do we see it? Yep. One year you win every the close game gods giveth, the close game gods taketh away. We saw it with Washington. They remind me a lot of Washington. What the Bears did is what Washington did 2 years ago, and then we saw, granted, that was injury related, some of Washington's woes last season, but still, the regression came for the Commanders last year. I think it could come to a similar degree here for the Chicago Bears, the Northwest Indiana Bears.
So the problem that I have with Green Bay is, again, the defensive side of the ball. Micah Parsons, they're not thinking it's going to be back until mid to late October. So they're going to have to step up. I don't mind some of the pieces they have on the defensive side, but how many times are we going to expect Jordan Love, who to me doesn't have a legit number one still? Dobbs is no longer there, right? Wicks is gone. Tight end, is he going to be back in time to get it going? Tight ends don't count as number one receivers, and I'm sorry. Now Matthew Golden was pretty good. Looks like all signs are pointing up for him, but Sky Moore. Is that really what it's amazing to me they've done as well as they have, BP, without a legit number one wide receiver. And plus they've always been hurt at that position. So kudos to the Packers for continuing to do it. And I don't know, smoke and mirrors, and it gets real hard to win at Lambeau in December and January. Yeah. I get it, but I don't know. Is their running back? Is he in jail? Is he not? Like what's going on with Green Bay this year?
Always tough. I was laughing when you mentioned the name Sky Moore, Joe, because I remember it was like 3 years ago when he was still with Kansas City. I bet an over once on his receiver prop, and he didn't have a single catch that game. So I was like, never again with Sky Moore. I thought he was out of the league, to be honest. Now, I'm not an athlete like you, Joe, but I do understand the fact that it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is when you've got no reliable receivers. and a bad offensive line, too. Let's talk about that with the Packers and Jordan Love. I think the Packers' offensive line is a real concern. Green Bay is a team, I don't know. I mean, in LaFleur, we trust. I really respect the job he's done here. But, they always have a floor. Green Bay is one of those teams that's never bad.
Right.
But I don't know what the ceiling is necessarily. This is a team I was high on each of the last 2 years, and they kind of, like I mentioned last year, I mean, the horrible blown lead in the playoffs to Chicago. That can't happen. So I don't know. I'm not as high on Green Bay as I was certainly at this point last season or even the year before.
What's the win total? I mean, what are we looking at here? If I'm not mistaken, is it 9.5 in that division?
Yeah, 9.5. Yep, juice to the under.
I can't see them going over, guys. I mean, to me, it's a 9.5 or pay. I don't see them winning 10 games. Again, Josh Jacobs arrested in late May. Who knows what's going to happen with that? Micah Parsons won't be back to affect games until end of October, November. Reed is likely going to get hurt like he does every year. Yeah. I don't know, Art. I mean, where's their tight end? What's his status?
Yeah, Tucker Kraft, exactly. You mentioned it. It's golden. He's a former first-round pick. It's going to really come on to him to, become a guy, become the number one guy. You draft a guy in the first round like that, that's the production you're going to expect from him eventually. What is this? His third year? I mean, we got to get there with him. But, yeah, I mean, this division is one of those divisions where the win totals are all kind of tight, where even Minnesota, who's last in the division, is still at 8.5. I mean, most books are offering 8.5. So, I mean, it's one of those divisions where, and the Lions are clearly out front as the number one team. They're going to play that soft schedule this year. They probably should bounce back despite having some injuries and some question marks as well with that team. But yeah, you can make a case for all these teams to maybe go under their win total, or even 3 of the 4 teams to win the division. It's just one of those divisions. It's kind of similar a lot to yesterday when we were talking outside of the Browns, who had no chance to win their division. There's a lot of people making cases for 3 or 4 teams in this division.
I don't know. To me, the big question with Chicago is what they won 11 games last year. I don't see that happen. 7 of those 11 wins were from behind. And that is just playing with fire. I mean, the amount of they were great at taking the ball away. Maybe they could rub off on the Jets a little bit. Maybe the Jets eventually get a turnover. But at this point, I mean, they were number 1 in takeaways, right? 33 total, 23 interceptions. But usually they're always playing from behind. And then in the second half, it's this mad dash. Well, I don't know, BP. Can we trust them to win 11 games again with that style of play? I don't know.
No. Stuff like you mentioned, turnovers, stuff, what I mentioned earlier, the close game luck, that fluctuates. Unless if you're Mike Tomlin, who's no longer in the league, by the way. That stuff tends to fluctuate wildly year over year. You mentioned the Jets, by the way. Are we just going to bet the Jets to record an interception every game until they do it this year?
Yes,
I think I'm going to. Week 1, who are the Jets playing in week 1? I'm betting the opposing quarterback over half an interception. I can tell you that right now.
Tennessee.
They went an entire year.
Tennessee. Ooh, Tennessee.
Oh, my God. Have mercy. All right. Well, I know we're getting away from the
Robert
script here.
Saleh, I guarantee you this. Geno Smith will be intercepted. That I can promise you there. That will absolutely happen. So it sounds like none of us here are sold on the NFC North, somebody running away. What wins the division? Let me ask you that, Art. How many wins does it take to win the NFC North this year? Is somebody going to have to get to 11?
I think the Lions will. I think the Lions will win 11 games. I think they're the clear-cut favorite. I think they do win the division.
BP, what are you thinking?
And top to bottom, kind of just to echo something Art said a minute ago, I think this is the toughest division in the NFL, where there's no easy division games. Almost every other division has, at least one crummy team. This one does not. There's no weeks off in the NFC North. Besides Detroit, who else is going to make the playoffs? Right now, I don't feel comfortable answering that question, Joe, but I do feel pretty comfortable in saying this is the toughest division top to bottom in the entire sport.
I do think it is, yes. But you're right. Art, somebody's got to win enough games to be able to get it done. Will they devour themselves? And Who's the quarterback for Minnesota, and does it really make a difference? I think that's going to be a very interesting wrench that could get thrown into this division for sure. All right, guys, there you go. The NFC North preview. We'll have another one for you tomorrow. We'll switch back to the AFC. Maybe we'll talk about the AFC East and Brian Power betting the Jets to get at least, one takeaway. At some
one
point
interception
in a game. My goodness. I'll even take a fumble. I don't even have to be an interception. Just give me like anything goes their way. That would be outstanding. I'm telling you right now, they're going to end up winning like 4 games this year. They have no business winning, and they're going to get totally screwed, and they're going to miss out on getting any sort of quarterback for the future. It's coming. All right, let's do Major League Baseball here. We got a rundown coming your way. We'll do this round table style. We got some afternoon games getting ready to start. In fact, one of them already underway. Rangers and Rays at the Trop. Rays bounced back yesterday. McClanahan versus an opener for Texas. Who you leaning towards, BP?
McClanahan's awesome at home, and the Rays won yesterday despite getting no hits in the last 7 2/3 innings of that game. And they went with the bullpen game. They're able to do that and win. Yep. McClanahan on the mound, they should win. Again, you mentioned already started, but I would have gone first 5 with McClanahan. I know it's juicy, but come on, big edge there.
Yeah, at the Trop. Royals Twins are Noah Cameron versus Bailey Ober. Royals actually won a game yesterday by out-hitting a team 4-0 yesterday. I watched Salvatore Perez leg out a triple. I almost fainted. He was laying on the base like a beach whale. I never seen anything like it. I was like, you can't. And then they made him hit a sacrifice fly, and he had to run home. It was just awful, the poor guy. But Royals, do they make it 2-0 here?
Nah, Twins will win. Twins will go over their team total as well.
Ooh, Twins team total as well. All right, Yankees and the White Sox here. Yankees have won 2 out of the first 3. Weathers versus Burke. Who we kidding? 7.5 is the total there. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Yankees in this one. Cubs Cardinals there. You were so spot on with that game as you. Cubs versus Cardinals. Assad versus Palante. BP. Who you going with?
I want no part of this game. The Cardinals, here's the thing. We got lucky yesterday. They don't score a lot at home. They're the lowest scoring team at home in all of baseball. So my guess is, and they needed the 10th to get the 3 runs yesterday. So maybe an under on getaway day here in St. Louis. That maybe makes a lot of sense. Although the Cubs offense has been cooking now for over a month. I think they lead MLB in runs scored since June 11.
Oh, yeah. Somebody forgot to invite him to the barbecue last night because that didn't work out well. Marlins versus the Mets. Yuri Perez versus McLean there, Art. Marlins have turned a corner. Listen, Mets looked pretty good against the Braves in the doubleheader yesterday. What do you think here today?
And this is when you want to bet the Mets when they have Nolan on the mound. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd lean Mets in this game.
Wow, 7 as a total. That is a interesting number to say the least. All right, Pirates at the Reds. We talked about this game earlier. Rhett Lauder versus an opener, Ramirez for the Pirates. 9.5. If they can't score runs, these 2 lineups against these pitching staffs, I don't know what to tell you. Over for me there. Nats and Braves there, BP. Irvin versus Holmes. You had mentioned this as part of your parlay of the day. Was it a team total over?
Yes, Nats team total over. They're going to get all 9 at bats. Obviously, by rule, they are the road team, and I trust their offense, but I don't know what we're going to get out of Jake Irvin making his first start in over 2 months. So let's just trust that Nationals offense, which averages 5.5 runs per game. They can go over 4.5, and we cash.
Red Sox taking on the Athletics. Art, you got Sonny Gray on the mound versus Barnett. Will be open list. Not make a difference. The Athletics have no pitchers. Ginn is on the shelf now, so they're calling up guys to spot start and everything else. But all 3 of these games in this series so far, 4 runs has won it. I mean, it's been a very slow offensive series. Sonny Gray on the mound. What are you thinking here?
I mean, you got to lean Red Sox, but to your point, Joe, there's got to be some runs at some point, right? I mean, at one point, we'll probably see an over in this series, but listen, the A's are a mess. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Kurtz got dinged last night as well. Red Sox are nothing.
Giants at the Padres. Petco, one of the most pitcher-friendly parks. Robbie Ray has quietly been lights out here now for well over a month for the Giants. The Giants have lost everybody. Harrison Bader, Schmidt gone, all on the IL. The Padres' bats have come alive. And believe it or not, JP Sears has actually been pretty good, shockingly enough here. I think the Padres get it done in that one. That leaves Mariners and Dodgers, BP. Bryan, Woo versus Sasaki. Which Sasaki and Woo show up here today? Can you tell us that?
Well, it's probably going to be bad, Woo, because he's on the road. His ERA is about 4 runs higher on the road than it is at home. That's typically the case with most of these Seattle starting pitchers. Kind of like the over here, but the game probably doesn't go over unless if one or both of these starters struggle. We had talked about maybe a first 5 over in this game on the morning wager. And there's one thing I wanted to add about the A's. You guys talked about how few runs have been scored in this series with the Red Sox. There has not been a 4-game series in West Sacramento all year where every game has stayed under. So it would be a first if the game stays under tonight. There's, as a matter of fact, only been one series all year, and it was a 3-game series back in April against the Royals where every game stayed under in West Sacramento. So I don't know. Market, I think, was moving towards the under actually tonight, which is kind of interesting on that game.
Well, I think that's when they'll get burned there, but likely there'll be a no-hitter in this game. That's kind of what will happen there. All right, that's your Major League Baseball rundown. Let's now take a look here at a couple of long shots here, guys. Do what you may with these, but Art, I'm going to start with you. What are you looking at on the board here for a long shot today?
Well, listen, we had done this yesterday. It was the first time I got involved in the long shots. And Prez threw out a future. So I'm going to throw a future out too.
Shoot.
We already talked about it. Give me the Pirates to make the playoffs. I think the price is really nice. It's a nice long shot price. And as Bryan had spoken about in the predictive markets, you might only have to wait a week or 4 days to make some money off of it. So Pirates, yes. Playoffs.
Ooh, what are you thinking, BP? Long shot here today.
You're always throwing new segments at me, Joe. Let's go with the Phillies not to make the playoffs. What do you say?
Ooh, wow, you guys are gross. Yes, because then I'm sure the people viewing this right now are very excited that you both gave them long shots that can't cash for another 6 months. So I'm going to give you a long shot that can cash tonight, guys.
Well,
how about we got
the Chargers to win the division?
Yeah, well,
that was ridiculous.
Everything you needed to say started with the Prez, and we didn't have to listen after that. It made total sense as to what was going on there. All right, long shot of the day for me is going to be those Washington Nationals to get it done here tonight against the Atlanta Braves, even with Jake Irvin on the mound, who I don't know why he came back, but those are your long shots here. Only one of them can actually be played today. Nice job, you guys. Unfortunately, it'll be this crew again tomorrow in 24 hours. So sorry about that. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Become part of this WagerTalk TV family. BP, Art, always a pleasure, guys. We'll do it again tomorrow for another edition of the best betting show ever. Enjoy the games. We'll see you guys tomorrow.